the kind of blueprint for it is that the music comes first, then the melody, and then the lyric last.
Right.
The language, for me, language is always the hardest part, and unfortunately, that's the main part of my job. So
you'll always get the tune, start working up the tunes and just singing gibberish and to get the rhythm of it, and then fill the words in.
Yeah.
Later. Must be quite hard, that, really, because, I mean, most lyricists actually...
Well, it's only in the last couple of records that I started filling it in with words.
Yeah. I mean, it took you a while as a singer almost to find your voice, didn't it? I mean, I think that, it's been kind of noticeable progression, that. You seemed almost shy at the beginning.
Yeah, I'm still shy. I've just learned through, being in a really well-known band how to kind of deal with people.
Right.
But, I joined... We started this band when I was 19. What you're seeing, maybe it's more evident in me than in the other guys, but what you're seeing is, the four of us and now the three of us growing up, kind of very publicly through our records.
Yeah. And you're not very showbiz, really, are you, Peter? I mean, you don't kind of like the glitzy occasions and the parties, or is that a myth?
I don't know. I mean, I'd go Hollywood if anyone invited me, but no one really has.
What was this about you falling asleep backstage and waking up with Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston looking at you drooling?
Well, that was hell. I'd been up all night nervous about doing the show, and I fell asleep in a chair. And
was this the Tibet concert?
Yeah, the Tibetan show. And it must have been 100 degrees, and I woke up and just kind of sweaty and just really disoriented. And I looked over, and within a foot of me was Brad Pitt, Jennifer Aniston, Ben Stiller,
Dermot Mulroney, Catherine Keener.
Yeah, there are all these people that some of them I don't even know who they are, and I know I'd never met them.
Mike D and Tamara Davis.
People, the guys from Sonic Youth. Everyone's just looking at me sleeping in this chair, and I was like, oh, I'm in hell. This is just awful.
It's like when you wake up like that on the train, dribbling, and there are people sitting
but it's not usually Brad Pitt sitting next to you, or Jennifer Aniston.
Not often, no. All right, let's have now I think we're going to have another track off the new album Up, and I think we're having Falls to Climb, which is the very last one, because we're playing the tracks you're definitely not going to be playing later on.
Some of the songs on the record we found are fairly unplayable.
Right.
I mean...
Well, we hadn't really tried yet, but...
Was something like in the
unplayable live, not unplayable on the radio, because we're just going to do it.
Unplayable by us.
Right.
Something like In the Air, which is, I think, my favorite song on the record, too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so much stuff on there, I wouldn't even know how to begin. There's like 8 guitars and 10 keyboards and a string section and 3 basses. I mean... what are we going to do?
And me hiccuping over the top of it.
All right, so this is one they haven't worked out how to play live yet. This is Falls to Climb. Falls to Climb by R.E.M. from the new LP Up. This is Mark Radcliffe talking to R.E.M. and we'll get to the live performance in not too long a time. You said, Michael, that what about films? What about? Let's talk a little bit about your role in Velvet Goldmine. How did you get involved in that? Is your musical director, are you?
No, I'm the executive producer of the film.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I stepped in and helped out with the music because it was kind of an obvious task that I could take care of pretty easily. I came here and we asked a lot of people to help kind of recreate the music from the glam era. And, pretty much all I had to do was say Todd Haynes, glam rock, and people lined up, great people lined up. Todd, I came into it because I've known his work for a long time, and I've known him for about 10 years. And I guess right before we went on tour in 95, there was a party in New York, and he came up to me, and he was dressed head to toe in 1971 glam, kind of like totally carrot hair sticking straight up, and the tightest kind of sparkly clothes, and he looked really ridiculous. But he was writing the script, and he said, I'm doing a movie on glam rock. Do you want to be involved? And I said, absolutely, without even looking at it, I said, yeah. So it's coming. I guess it came out last night.
I haven't seen it yet, I'm afraid.
No, it came out Friday. It came out Friday night here.
Okay. I mean, were you, growing up, were you kind of... Do you have glam idols? I mean, you're always prone to a bit of the old eyeliner and eyeshadow.
When I was 16 and 17, I kind of tried. I kind of emulated Mark Bolan and Ian Hunter, because I had bad skin and crazy curly hair.
Did you have big glasses like he had?
Big glasses covered the bad skin.
Right. Yeah.
And so those were the guys from the British glam scene that really affected me. But I came to it through kind of the CBGB's New York television, and Patti Smith and Blondie and Talking Heads, Ramones. A lot of the magazines that were covering that scene were referencing back to glam rock and Iggy and the Stooges and the Velvet Underground, and that's how I got turned on to those guys. So it was about 75 or 76 when that happened.
Right.
It was a little bit after the...
Yeah. No, I mean, I grew up through all that glam era and everything. I mean, I just back to Mike's spangly clothes, really, isn't it? So it's like I always thought it's great about the glam rock bands. And the English glam rock bands. It was said that they were all had 3 bricklayers and 1 pretty boy up front, apart from Mud, which was 4 bricklayers.
But Tiger Feet was a great record.
It was a great record. Placebo's cover of 20th Century Boy is uncanny. I mean,
it's great.
It's more or less indistinguishable.
Have you seen the film?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Because they perform it on screen.
Right,
and it's
are you pleased with the way it's turned out? The film?
Yeah, I think the movie's amazing.
Right, okay. Let's have a bit of R.E.M. glam rock. I mean, I was making a hackneyed DJ link. I'm tempted to say Crush with Eyeliner, but you can reject that entirely.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, from Monster, Crush with Eyeliner from the R.E.M. concept album, The Glam Rock Years. So you've been playing with Neil Young. What was that? What have you been doing there?
You know, I can die a happy man. I kind of vaguely know Neil over the years, and he called me because we're going to play with him. He said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, Neil, let's do something you never do. So I like all of the stuff from On the Beach and Time Fades Away. And he was kind of, it piqued his interest that we were interested in doing something kind of that down and that ancient. So we learned On the Beach and Ambulance Blues, and actually only played Ambulance Blues with him, but it was really intense. So I mean, his outdoor, the thing he's doing is for the Bridge School, and this is very warm-hearted benefit.
What is that? I've heard of it.
It's a school that with computers helps kids that have handicaps that can't communicate verbally, so they do a lot of computer work. It's a great cause. It's a very warm-spirited thing, and of course we picked the most down, depressing song that he'd ever written. The chorus is "You're all just pissing in the wind," and for 9 minutes we did that with him, which was really intense.
Right.
And he played on one of our songs too.
And then followed it with Country Feedback, which is
one of our songs. And Neil did like an 8-minute solo at the end, staggering around the stage and bumping into us all. It was amazing.
Right, yeah. I mean, do you talk about doing downbeats? I mean, people say a lot of the album is kind of quite introspective in a way, the new album. I meant to ask you this at the time. I mean, because I've told Mike that it was you who decided to call it Up. I mean, was that with a hint of irony, or...?
Actually, it was a joint decision. Mike and myself were sitting there at the 11th hour, and we had to pick a title, and it wasn't ironic at all, because I don't think of this as a down album. I think... it's very introspective and thoughtful, but especially musically, I think it's very uplifting. And but the title was people read far too much into titles. It's just a name.
Yeah, right. Okay.
That's why the replacement called their record Tim.
Yeah, it was from This Side Up. It was taken off a cardboard box.
Right. Let's have another old tune. What would you like?
We should play Pretty Persuasion.
That was Pretty Persuasion by R.E.M. and we're going to have one more song. It's a big hit to finish on, and we'll let you go and get ready to play the show for just 200 people, obviously. Right. There's no more than that. We've gone through, a few tracks, and there's obviously loads to choose from. I mean, Mike, which is your favourite album of all the ones you've done, you think? Can you say that?
Well, I would say Up is probably going to be, after it's had a little time to settle in. But other than that, it's between New Adventures and Automatic for the People.
Right, okay. Peter?
Well, I'd agree with Mike, except I've got to kind of like Murmur just because we thought we were so smart when we made it, and we were actually just really stupid. Right. we didn't have a clue.
The photos on it are great, aren't they? It's looked great looking back at that.
Yeah, it was just so long ago. I mean, I can't help but kind of have affection for it, even though I hope I never have to hear it again.
Okay, yeah. Michael?
It's easy. New Adventures and Up.
Right.
For me.
Is the one that you don't like listening to? Is the one that you think, that's a bit heavy going? I mean, do you listen to your records regularly?
We never listen to any of our records.
No, it's impossible. But
no, that's not true. I go back because I needed some kind of touchstone songs. I needed to look at what I'd done when I went to write the songs for this record. I went back to Fables of the Reconstruction, Out of Time, Automatic for the People, and New Adventures in Hi-Fi, and I picked songs off of each of those that were my favorite songs. That my contribution, mostly lyrical stuff that I thought was really pushing myself. Songs that I think are smarter than me. Yeah. And that's kind of where I wanted to go. That was kind of my starting point for this record.
Right. Okay. You once said you'd split up on New Year's Eve 1999.
Well, you know who said that? Bill.
Bye-bye.
Bill said it. He couldn't wait.
He didn't last. Right. So there's no point. So there's no chance of this becoming some kind of millennium act.
He was just blowing off some cheeky monkey of a journalist by saying that. It was
and
never.
It was typical. Sorry, Michael.
No, interrupt me. I mean, pre-internet, it blossomed into this full-blown, fact that was when we were going to break up. Well, guess what?
So he's got
one of us broke up.
That was one of you broke up. All right, well, listen, it's been a great pleasure meeting you, and the new album is a triumph. I think before you go, autographs. Do you want mine? Because I'm on the radio. Or, I mean,
put it with your phone number in case we need a drummer.
Right, okay, fair enough. All right, then. Mike, Peter, Michael, thanks a lot.
Thanks.
You're welcome.